Hi, it's Cammy. Charlie talks football.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Charlie Talks Football. So full-time Newcastle lose to Chelsea, but before we mention that, I think you guys will notice that we're in a different place, aren't we, Dad?
Yep, so we're in a glamping pod in Scotland near Dumfries, and we watched the game in the Gretna Inn in Scotland, and there was actually 3 Chelsea fans in there, wasn't there, Charlie?
There was.
Which was bizarre.
But yeah, Newcastle lose to Chelsea. Now, I think what a lot of Newcastle fans will think, including me, is that we're probably expected to lose this game, but it is frustrating, isn't it, Dad? Because clearly a lot of the goals that were conceded could have probably easily been prevented on another day. Dan Burn again is a centre back. He's like coming into midfield. I don't know what's going on with that, but Pope should have saved that shot, shouldn't he, Dad?
I mean, the goal that was ruled out at first, Cole Palmer. Dan Burn is drawn into midfield by Jackson, and he's not got the agility or pace to get drawn into there because he was just spinning them and turning them, create space in behind them. They get it wide and then they exploit the space in the middle. And you know, the goals were just totally. We could have avoided them. I mean, the second goal, Shaw backs off Cole Palmer. He doesn't close him down at all, and I don't know. It's just Pope should have saved it as well, but he shouldn't have had to save it because it shouldn't have happened. You know, it's mistakes, basic decision making. And, you know, at times in the game we played okay, but these mistakes cost you in the Premier League, and we've got to do better.
We've got tough fixtures coming up. Chelsea once again in the Carabao Cup, which I'm very worried about that game. I know you, Dad, said that you think that we'll get a result, but I am worried about that game. Now, I wanted to ask you, Dad, a big question. Do you think in the fan base Eddie Howe's under a lot of pressure, especially if we get knocked out against Chelsea?
I think he's under pressure from certain fans who have opinions who perhaps thinking it's time for him to go. I don't think it's time for him to go, but I think we've got to make better decisions on the pitch because it's not good enough. And you know, we got an equaliser, but that second goal was just awful. And the mistakes. I mean, I think we've had the last 53 or 54 corners we've not scored one goal.
It's laughable, isn't it?
That is something you need to rectify. We need to start practicing corners on the training ground or employ a set piece coach who can make a difference.
But is it Eddie Howe and his coaches who are failing to do that, or are we just not doing it properly? Because I don't think it gets talked about enough, to be honest, whether fans don't notice it or not.
But if you've had 53 corners, you need to score some goals from those corners, or at least create some chances where you're forcing the keeper to make a mistake. But that is not good enough. And like I say, it's about decision making today. Why Dan Burn was following Nicholas Jackson into midfield when he could spin him easily. I don't understand. Pass him on to a midfielder and hold your position and block the space at the back around the goal. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. And I think certainly if we get knocked out against Chelsea, he's going to be under massive pressure. You saw his face today. He didn't look very happy. But what are your thoughts? In my opinion, it's a disappointing result. I think we both expected to lose, Dad, I think, against Chelsea. Although you do want to win games. But Eddie Howe is certainly under pressure. And I don't think it's going to get much better, Dad, because Arsenal in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, Wednesday night, Chelsea in the Cup, Saturday lunchtime, Arsenal. You know, 2 tough games, but we can bounce back. We have got the ability to do it, but you know, he started Miggy today, which is interesting. Gordon missed it with an injury, so I don't know if Gordon will be back for Wednesday night, but you know, we've got to go into that game and give them a good game and beat them on Wednesday night, and then that'll set us up for Saturday. But tough game on Saturday as well.
And as well, I want to say, Dad, I think maybe not many people are mentioning this enough, but to be 12th in the league is incredibly disappointing with no European football, because there's no excuses. We're not like in Champions League. We shouldn't be in that position. You've got teams who are above us in the league who probably usually you wouldn't expect to be above us in the league, but something's got to change, whether it's the formation, whether it's the tactics. Look, I do understand, guys, that in today's game it was just on the players. I think anyone who blames Eddie Howe for this game is a bit harsh, I think, because it was individual mistakes that cost us this game. But in general, in this season, I do think there's been times where Eddie Howe's also made mistakes that have cost us points. So I think it's not just Eddie Howe who deserves the blame, but I think it's a bit of both. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Would you sack him? I wouldn't sack him because I don't think that would be the right decision. But something's got to change because we can't keep making excuses for these games.
I agree that it's the players' responsibility to make an individual errors, but the buck stops with the coach. And I love Eddie Howe and I want him to stay at Newcastle. I think he's really good, but you know, there is consistent mistakes being made, and you've got to look at the players, but you've also got to look at the coaching staff. Again, the corner statistic is just it's shocking. If you're not scoring out of 53 or 54 corners, you know, there's something wrong there, and it's something you need to work on as well. But some of the performance today was decent, and some of it was individual mistakes were poor. But you know, we've got to start picking up more points, because if you don't, then you get cut adrift, and then you're thinking there's no chance we're going to get into Europe this year.
And as well, I think that if we don't get Europe, Eddie Howe's job could actually be on the line, couldn't it?
Yeah, and also, you know, there's rumours that Isaac's not going to sign a new contract because if we don't get into Europe this year, he'll want to leave. And everyone's saying, he's got a few years left on his contract. That's matterless.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because if he wants to leave and there's an offer put in for him, they'll accept it and he'll go. You know, so whether he's got 2 or 3 years on his contract, it doesn't matter. He will go at the end of the season if we have not got Champions League or European football.
Yeah, and as well, I wanted to mention the transfer window because, of course, I think that's you can't forget about that. The fact that we didn't manage to do much in the transfer window. Now, I think it would be harsh to criticise Osula, Dad, but I feel a little bit sorry for him, to be honest, because he comes on in like the 88th minute and he can't really do anything to affect the game.
And you look, you know, we needed to bring another centre half. They went all out on Gui. They didn't bring him in, but you know, I do like Dan Burn. He's an honest player. He works hard, but his agility isn't the best, and when he's following people into midfield and he can't twist or turn as quick as them, it's difficult for him. And even Shaw in the second half got drawn into midfield and he couldn't cope. You know, why on earth were they following the forward into midfield? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's just frustrating, guys, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, guys, and leave a like. It's nice to be back. But I just wanted to mention one more thing, Dad, and I think that thing is because that the transfer window didn't actually do that well, who do you think was to blame for that? Was it Paul Mitchell? Was it Eddie Howe who wanted Gui, which I think we knew that he probably did want him, but was it the fact that Eddie Howe was refusing to go for other targets, or was it just the fact that, you know, the transfer strategies failed? So it's who do you blame, really?
I know, and we'll be back in England on Tuesday, so we'll be going to the Chelsea game, and then the Arsenal game we'll go into on Saturday.
Huge
so we'll bring you
games.
Videos on their big games for us. So we'll let us know what you thought about the game. We always like to read your comments.
And one more question, Dad. Do you think these next 2 games are huge for Eddie Howe's future? Or do you think that's a bit too?
I think that's a bit
far?
I think that's a bit harsh. I think, you know, they are 2 tough games, but no panic stations yet. But things have to improve.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.